Hello, dear friends. Our story today is about Talha and a terrifying night in which Talha survives this terrifying night. We will go through all this in this story today. It was 11 o'clock at night, and I was sleeping like a fool. I was wandering through some islands in my dreams when the constant ringing of the phone jolted me back to consciousness. I picked up the phone with difficulty controlling my sleepy nerves. Assalamu alaikum, I greeted as usual. Walaikum assalamu alaikum, how are you, Talha? What are you doing? In response, I heard Abu G's serious voice. Abu G was sleeping. Did you guys arrive safely? And then the ground gave way from under my feet after hearing what he said. His car had met with an accident on the way, and everyone was in the hospital at that time. Continued. Although according to him, there was nothing to worry about and they were all slightly injured. His worried tone and unusual way of talking were giving me a clue about someone. So I immediately made a departure plan. Although Abuji was forbidding me from traveling at that time, it was now impossible to stop me, and my heart was longing to fly to him. My parents, aunt, uncle, my younger sister, all left for Hyderabad that evening to attend the wedding of close relatives. I had stopped at home because of my exams. My aunt and uncle used to stay 2 streets away from our house, and we had very pleasant relations with them. Auntie were very kind, sincere, and lively. Allah Almighty had blessed them with every worldly blessing except children. But instead of making this deficiency a disease in their life, they had come to terms with it, considering it as fate. They considered me and my younger sister Garia as their children and showered all their love on them. As a result, both of us also gave them the same status as our parents. I had been up all night preparing papers. When I came home after the papers, I was so busy with everyone that I did not realize the passage of time. In the evening, when everyone left after giving me lots of instructions, I was in a bad state of exhaustion. As soon as I had dinner and offered prayers, sleep overtook me so severely that I became oblivious in a moment. I got ready and left immediately. I had taken the address of the hospital from my father. It was about a 3-hour journey. When I left home, a light drizzle had started. Karachi stays awake at night, so I didn't feel lonely for a long time. The roads were lit up, and people were seen walking around. After half an hour, the drizzle turned into heavy rain. By now, I had come quite far from the city, so the traffic had also reduced considerably. Occasionally, a passing car could be seen. Although the car's wipers were running continuously, the heavy rain made it look foggy outside. The street lamps, installed at a short distance, were trying in vain to defeat the darkness with their dim light. The dense trees on both sides of the road had swallowed up even the light. Although I was naturally quite brave and fearless, the fear of loneliness and darkness was creeping up on me, and I was praying for a safe journey. Every now and then, lightning would flash, and the whole scene would become clear. The big trees were swaying in the strong wind, taking on different shapes. Sometimes it seemed as if bloodthirsty witches were beckoning me to them. Suddenly, lightning flashed, and I saw a humanoid figure standing in the middle of the road in the distance. He was waving his hand loudly, begging me to stop the car. At first, I thought it was some kind of thief who wanted to stop me and turn back. Then suddenly, all the scary stories I had heard since childhood came to my mind, in which demons take on different forms and harass travelers. Thinking about this made my hair stand on end. There was also a thought that maybe there was someone in need who was standing there to help at this hour of the night. However, when I reached there, I found it difficult to believe my eyes that there was no human being there, not even a baby bird. I looked carefully in every direction, but loneliness and silence reigned everywhere. I felt bad with fear and drove away blindly. I had just gone a little far when suddenly someone placed a hand on my shoulder from behind. My upper breath stopped, and my lower breath stopped, and my heart started beating at a furious pace. With difficulty, I looked back, and I felt as if there was a huge pile of hair on the back seat. I don't know what kind of creature of God was that was bigger than a human in size, but completely covered with hair. Only its red, terrifying eyes and the long, curved nails of its hands and feet were visible. She was staring at Talha with her red, scary eyes in a rage. Talha's eyes widened in terror and her heart jumped into her throat. My breath caught in my chest, and my hands and feet started tingling. It was impossible to move. With great difficulty, I gathered my senses, and reciting Quranic verses under my breath, drove the car at a stormy speed. After a while, I felt that the back seat was empty. When I looked at the back seat through the mirror, the demon had left there. He had not yet been able to fully breathe a sigh of relief when he felt as if the car was gradually becoming very heavy and it was becoming impossible to drive. The car that I was flying like a plane now refused to even crawl like a donkey cart. Just then, I was in this state of anxiety when a terrible laughter was heard from behind. I had never heard such a terrifying sound in my entire life. When I turned around, the same inhuman creature was seen sitting on the seat again, laughing. Its legs had grown so long that it was hanging out of the car window and dragging its feet on the road. Seeing this, it was becoming difficult to move the car forward. A wave of fear ran down my spine, and I started reciting Quranic verses and Ayatul Kursi loudly. After a while, the car became lighter and moved faster. After that, this spectacle continued from time to time. Sometimes the creature would appear behind me and sometimes in front of me on the seat next to me. Sometimes it would start laughing, and sometimes it would stare at me angrily. I continued my prayers and drove the car quickly. Within an hour, traces of the city began to appear when the creature suddenly disappeared. I thanked God that I had safely left my pursuit without causing any harm. I was only 15 minutes away from the hospital when I felt a shock. In the darkness of the night and the pouring rain, Kalu was seen standing under a street lamp. When I pressed the brake, the car started to drag far along the road. Kalu came walking fast and opened the front seat door and sat next to me. Despite standing in such heavy rain, his clothes were completely dry. I asked him in great surprise what he was doing here, and he said slowly, "Just sun." He was just standing there. He was completely lost. Kalu, who was very eager to talk and laughed loudly during the conversation, was completely silent. He was thinking and barely uttering a few words. When I asked him how everyone was doing, he said, "Yes, son, everything is fine, don't worry. I didn't want to leave without meeting you, so I left." I wondered where they were going, but seeing their condition, I didn't think it appropriate to ask further. I felt that the accident had affected their senses. I myself was in a hurry to reach the hospital, so I started driving silently. When I reached the parking lot and started getting out, I was shocked to see that the seat next to me was empty. I quickly entered the hospital and saw my father standing in front of me in a very emotional state. I wanted to tell you about my aunt, but he walked quickly and silently took me inside. I was shocked to see the scene in the room. On the bed in front of me was the body of my aunt, who had died on the spot in the road accident. Seeing me, my mother and aunt came running and hugged me and started crying profusely. But when was I in my senses to comfort them? I stood there in amazement, wondering who was in the car with me if my aunt had died in the accident. Was their love really so intense that they were unwilling to leave without meeting her? This is the mystery that I have never been able to solve.